The people who are most committed to personal development and personal growth are often the ones that are most disconnected from themselves. That might sound like a contradiction, but this is what I have observed in myself and in many of the people that I work with. It all has to do with the intention that we bring into our practice and into the work that we do. Many of us turn to different types of somatic practice, whether it's meditation or breath work, because we have this desire to, on the one hand, understand ourselves better, but also often to sort of improve our system and make our system more efficient. But often, what can happen over time when we go deeper and deeper into our practice is that our practice gets hijacked and derailed from the intention of understanding ourselves and becomes a way to actually improve ourselves from the perspective that something is wrong with us. And this is where a lot of us start to lose the connection with ourselves. So, what initially started as a practice to get in deeper relationship with ourselves actually ends up taking us further away from that objective that we had. And all of it has to do with intention, because it's like any tool that we use. The tool itself is not inherently bad or good. There's no such polarity to it. It's just the tool as it is. Now, the way that we end up using the tool is obviously what creates the intention behind it, and thus makes it either beneficial and creative or harmful and destructive. So it's important to understand on a deeper level which of those intentions are inherently running your system. And most people have no awareness on this. They think that they're doing their practice and that means that this practice is helping me, is supporting my system. It's maybe for some people, they think it's leading to the healing that they're looking for within their system. But I think if we're not careful, it actually ends up being a trap where now, like I said, we move further away from ourselves because it becomes a ground for judgment. It becomes a ground for self-criticism, because that's the thing with judgment. Whenever we have a judgment about ourselves, it creates a split inside. We create an ideal. We judge something within us as wrong, and thus we automatically also create an inner picture of what we perceive to be right. And when we perceive that thing to be right, or that way of being to be right, we automatically on a subconscious level try to push ourselves into that ideal, into that image, to optimize ourselves, to make us better and more in the image of what we're perceiving to be right. That can then lead to an internal conflict where now we're not actually relating to our system, our body, our nervous system, our mind, from a place of understanding. We're relating to the image that we have in our mind that we have created based on this judgment. So when we start creating this inner conflict, we actually pull ourselves further out of ourselves, and it creates a bigger and bigger split within us. So it's important to cultivate that awareness of these patterns. And one of the best ways that I have found, and it's also the work that I offer in my breath integration program, is to actually learn to use the breath for this, to learn to use the breath as a mirror for the reflection of our relationship with ourselves and ultimately our relationship with life. Because these patterns, they pop up everywhere. It's not like we can compartmentalize these patterns, that they pop up only when we do our breathing practice and it's separate from our daily life. The way we relate to our breathing is the way we relate to ourselves, and is the way we relate to life in general. So it's very important to see that clearly, to cultivate this ability to observe ourselves without trying to interfere and change. At least that is the foundation. Obviously, as we progress and as we learn, there's many different techniques and modalities that we can use, and each technique and modality has a different purpose. So understanding what the purpose of a specific technique is in itself is very important. But the foundation, like I said, is about awareness and cultivating certain qualities within your breathing. And one of those qualities is the skill of observation. So in the breath integration program, this is the very first step that we work on, to strengthen the ability to observe the breath without getting too involved, without interfering with it. And then from there, from that space of awareness, the natural progression and evolution of our system can sort of emerge from that in a more harmonious and natural way, without us forcing. Because that's the thing, in our society, many people have unconscious patterns that cause them to force their own system. They have learned from a young age to push themselves, to even push beyond the limitations of their body, and not truly sense the limits of their system. They're not really fully attuned to their system. And the risk that we take when we don't address those patterns, especially when we move into more advanced work with breath work, also energy work, and also deeper work with the mind, is that these patterns still run in the background. And the more advanced practices we do, the more stimulating they will be on the system. And the more we also work with aspects of learning to control and regulate our breathing. And if it comes from a space of forcefulness, it actually creates too much tension within the body, and also tends to overstimulate the nervous system. And it can actually lead to us burning out our system. So this whole idea of that one specific practice is beneficial in any case is, it's just not accurate. It's dependent on the individual patterns of a person. What do they come into the practice with? What are their emotional and mental patterns? And then also depends on how we relate to ourselves and to the practice. Are we inherently believing that there's something wrong with us and needing to fix that or change that? Or do we go into these practices out of a sense of curiosity and exploration to truly understand ourselves, to not judge ourselves, to not push ourselves into one direction, but to just look at our system where it's at, and to take that simple next step in our own evolution. That for me is the essence of the work. And for a long time in my own journey, I didn't fully grasp that principle either. That's why I know this pattern so well. I went into different types of breathwork modalities and was doing them out of this sense of like, this is going to change me, this is going to fix me. And a lot of what it was doing was just a change of state and a movement of energy, which in itself, again, is not wrong. It can be beneficial. It can be useful at times, but it can easily over time, especially again with the more intense breathing practices, which I was doing a lot, it can start to overstimulate the system and create more restlessness in the system. And this is exactly what I experienced over a longer period of time of doing these more intense practices. I started to notice more and more restlessness. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't really focus my mind for long periods of time. There was always this urge to constantly move the system. So this gradually started to change once I started to cultivate this ability to just observe and be present with what is there without immediately changing it. So again, it's not about one being better than the other. They all have their place, and this is exactly also what I teach in the breath integration program. I teach the entire spectrum of breathing. I show people different types of breathing methods and what the effect is on the system, so they can have more discernment about what is right on their journey, where they're at, and where they want to go. But again, the foundation is really breath awareness, because again, it's not like the advanced practices are more beneficial than the foundation practices. In many cases, the foundation is more important than the advanced work, because it's just like building the foundation of a house. It's not like the roof of the house, which is built the last, is the best aspect of the structure. Actually, the foundation is the most important, because if the foundation is not right, if the foundation is not stable, the rest of the structure will not hold. And this is the way I look at it with breathwork as well. Many people nowadays, they jump into various types of breathing techniques and methods, and often these are considered to be advanced breathing techniques. And again, there's also purpose to be found in the exploration and trying things out. But after a while, especially if you want to deepen the work that you're doing with regards to your nervous system, your breath, and also your subtle energy system, it's important to cultivate a deeper awareness and to understand what it is that you're working with and how it's affecting your system, so that you can cultivate better and more discernment about what to practice, what is relevant for you, and also what is not relevant for you at this very moment. So if you want support with that on your journey and want to have a better understanding of different types of breathing practices, how they affect your system, and how to build a proper foundation, then you can look into the program overview that is linked in the description below. It's an overview of the breath integration program that I have developed. It shows you the different stages that we move through in the program. And also, if it resonates with you, you'll find the possibility to connect with me, to schedule a conversation, to look at where your system is at, where you would like to go, and if this work is relevant for you at this point in your life. If that's relevant for you, I hope to speak to you soon.